Yes, good afternoon once again, our viewers. Welcome to Hot Tech. We do this every Tuesday. We are and really appreciate all our followers and people who subscribe to our channel. You're the real MVP, both on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and also TikTok. We are there. With me here, I have my co-host, Mr. Hudson Mugweri. We have a lot to unpack today. We shall be talking the issues that have been happening with the rugby union, Ivan Magomu, and also talk about the CAF, our representatives, Uganda's representatives in the CAF Champions League, that is cases here, Kitara, and many more. Yeah. So I would really welcome you to the show, Mr. Hudson Mugweri.
Thank you very much, Emma. And I'm happy to be here once again. New week, still talking sports as usual, dissecting everything in the Ugandan and international sports. So, to the viewers out there, thank you for watching and please give it up.
Absolutely. Let's advance the conversation. Last week, just hours after we had already finished shooting our hot take, we had already really come up with we had already really had the show and we spoke about the Magomu incidents, the ban that was actually pending, but eventually it came through that evening. Mr. Ivan Magomu, the Saddik Black Paris captain and also national team captain, was banned, has been banned for 24 weeks and been stripped of the captaincy of the national team. Though, if I read the letter very well, it showed that the DC and under Odong, yeah, the Secretary Odong, he sent a message as a recommendation. But the URU, I don't know why URU is using it as a ruling. They should have really had. We expected like the DC to come up with a recommendation, then the higher body rules out on the punishment. But they just published the whole thing out there as a recommendation and also as a ruling. Um, there's a lot to unpack today regarding Magomo, but we shall not really talk about things to do with a little bit, but we want to really focus on the player welfare, image rights, and contracts, and also the ban that has been going on. Yeah. So, in brief, I'll let you, Addison, really take the floor. What did you make of the ban? And maybe the specifics you picked from the ban, and you can really point them out for our viewers.
I would say that the union is just being unfair to Ivan Magomu because we all know why he was banned. It's not because he talked about the issue of them not getting money on time. The issue is one thing when he made the comment about the Secretary General of National Council of Sports, and that caused an issue, the Union and National Council of Sports. We saw that happen to Jamal at one time when he was at FUFA, when he made a comment about him, and what next? He wasn't being summoned on the national team anymore. So that it's not news anymore when it comes to when you talk about a big person in government. Now, mainly those of the National Council of Sports, like a minister, they will still come for you in any way. We've seen it happen. One time, even the national team manager of basketball, one time they tried to do investigations about him. They talked everything about him, but for him it was clean. To their shock, he was clean and wasn't even being paid as a national team manager, just doing for the will of the game, love of the game. So these are things which have been happening in our sports, and if we don't work upon it, nothing is going to change. On the player welfare, Magomo still talking about the players. Of course, they're supposed to get their money. They're supposed to fulfill their contracts as the union, which the union isn't doing. I just saw a post from one of the rugby journalists. I'm forgetting his name. He works at Radio One. I'm forgetting his name.
Mm.
Forgetting his name. When he said, I had them the Mbali team had threatened to do something, and then one of the union guys came out and gave and that turned in the 5.1 million cash there and then, not even audited. I'm like, okay, these are things which are happening in our sports. But generally, I would say the union is just being unfair with what they did to Ivan Magombi because the issue of threatening refs, attacking refs, it happened in the finals. And then you take all that time after even national team duty is done, that's when you be like, now we're also bringing that issue. According to the law,
Yeah,
it's supposed to be
to
they're
be
supposed to take
fair,
action 72 hours after the
actually,
incident, but they
actually,
took
the
weeks and weeks after the national team.
the issue of the ref,
Hmm?
if I'm to really interject a little bit, it was scrapped off the charge sheet. Yeah, I think also you already realized that they didn't
Hmm.
have merit on to charge Magomu after 72 hours had already elapsed. Not only 72 hours, we're coming to weeks and even months. So that one there was not. They saw it that it wasn't really just, and they scrapped it off the charge sheet. What remained on the charge sheet uh, was his things to do with his Twitter repost, and when he commented on the general secretary of NCS, that is Ogwell. I think that's the issue that has really raised eyebrows. But let's proceed also. Okay, let's talk about the. Last weekend I was trying to really check out a lot of his interviews. There's one he did with podcast with Ruben Chumulo. Big ups to Fatcast. He mentioned something specific, and looking at the welfare and image rights. What Magomu was trying to insinuate in that conversation is that they took them for a photo shoot under the URIU emblem, like to really they gave them contracts. But him being a lawyer, he looked through the contracts and realized that he'll be earning 40,000 shillings every month. You look at the brand of Magomu. Magomu actually his worth is in the levels of those of Camilo, that kind of earning, yeah, because in terms of the rugby community, it's so sentimental. But in that contract, they mentioned that they were earning 40,000 shillings. And when he questioned that, I think is okay. That's the reason why the URI has really been keeping an eye on him, because he's a guy who's an outlaw. You really pick out flaws in the contract. And being a lawyer, he was right to really look at those flaws. And I think it rubbed some people in the union badly regarding that. Will, are we really right on that if we talk about it in that way?
Is Magom is an outspoken person. He won't keep quiet. He's a leader, he's a lawyer, and he doesn't keep quiet. He will say the truth. The truth will set him free. So when he came out, talked about the image rights, he was right talking about it, because like now I'm reading the contract. This is
Mm,
what's in the contract. I'm not worth that money. So
mm,
he was trying to fight for the rights of himself and other players who are not vocal, because he's the national team captain. He's the captain of the Pirates as well. So as a leader, you're supposed to be out there to talk for your teammates. You know, that's why now when it comes to setting up like player association, these are people we need to see in those associations as leaders, because we know they'll be vocal, they'll air out the views, and
mm,
people have to listen. The union and federations have to listen to what the players are going through and what they really need. The crowds of the players have to come through them. There are some players who are just there. You know what? It's
mm,
okay. Let me just enjoy. But he's being affected.
mm.
He's missing out on a lot.
Yeah.
So I would say Ivan somehow somewhere is right to air out those views. He's right
Yeah.
to air, because he's a lawyer. It's not that
Mm,
he's a qualified lawyer.
mm,
So he has a right to air these views. He knows what the law says.
mm.
Eh? And the union
Absolutely.
forgets
Mm,
that the guy knows what the law says.
mm.
Is a person who read the contract and he interprets it properly. It's like this, it's like this, like this. Which the union forgets that they're dealing with people who are educated, who are lawyers, who are so vocal, who air out their views properly to the people.
Absolutely. If you look at the Players Association thing, let me borrow a leaf from FUFA. FUFA was actually, when I read what I read from the audit report, FUFA is one of the few federations, however much FUFA has its flaws, it's one of the few federations that it submits its work plan, audited reports to NCS, unlike these other federations. And looking at, okay, I've worked with FUFA, I've been a CEO in Uganda Premier League. So this is how the two DCs, disciplinary committees, are so different. One, if you summon a player at FUFA, uh, there are two people who are allowed there. The players representative, either a lawyer, whether a guardian or an agent. Then they will pick one person from the players association, and that's what Ivan Magomu is trying to really advocate for with URI. I don't know why URI is not really picking this from Ivan's side. Actually, Ivan should really be their ally, because you cannot try a player when there's no players association member who is there to really be as a witness. Is a representative. Okay, eventually his lawyer came in and I think submitted in his case, but this is exactly what Ivan Magom is trying to really fight for. Players Association, as you mentioned it, remuneration of fair welfare to these players. And I think that's where the also NCS really got it wrong. I mean, this thing has really, for me, the person who has lost big from this is the Uganda Rugby Union in terms of their image, sponsorship, and I don't know how they are going to really amend their image, because now one thing you should know with rugby fans, these are elite people, these are really well level-headed people, so there are things they will always speak out. You cannot really use the same textbook all over again, and sometimes as you say, the chickens will come home to roast, the famous English word. Yeah, so just close with that, with Ivan Magomo, what's the way forward, and how should really URI really um, uh, amend this, and the expectation with the appeal, because they really find an appeal.
So if he appealed and they're waiting from the union, let's wait for what the union says.
Mm.
But as of now,
Yes, Mr. Hudson, as okay, I want to just as you close this, just what's your expectation from the appeals, and also then it's not only the only player that has come out. You know, there are many players, even the Ivan Kavagambe also came out. I don't know what your take is on that, and what happened what transpired in South Africa.
uh, if 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 I'm the union, I first look at the feedback from the people, because the public is that which makes rugby one of the most interesting games. What is the feedback from the stakeholders? Because the fans are the stakeholders, and we get sponsors of the stakeholders.
Mm.
So, what is their feedback on Magomo issue? What are they talking about? You try to do your survey in the process. You be like, do you know what, guys? I think whatever we did was so harsh. Let's reduce on the punishment, and let the player continue playing rugby like after 2 months, not 6 months, but after 2 months.
Mm.
Because he's a national team captain, was a national team captain who's actually is no longer national team captain now.
Mm.
He's the captain of the Pirates as well, one of the big clubs we know in the rugby fraternity. So, what is the feedback from the people out there?
Mm.
Yeah. Now, for the Kabagambe issue, it clearly stated that where they were in South Africa, they weren't sleeping well, and they didn't even have gas of where to cook food from. So they were suffering. Generally, they were suffering. It's like, you know what, we were suffering. Just because the Sudanese wouldn't, Gongodia wouldn't talk, but we were suffering.
Mm.
In the person of him airing out his views, him crying out to the union like they should do something, they were like, it's indiscipline, and what next? Please leave the camp, come back. It's like, sour. It's okay. But
So hard, yeah?
the player was airing out what was happening in the camp. Tell the union, please, let's do something about it. Let's try to adjust something. Yeah. So when I come to you and tell you this and this is happening, if you're my boss, next thing you're going to do is like, please be fired. Yeah? Because you're going to fire many.
Yeah.
Yeah? You're going to fire many. Listen to someone's views, get a solution to the problem. The problem can't be firing someone off from the camp or from the job. Yeah. The union
Absolutely.
is acting in a weird way. They're like dictators, generally. They can't listen to someone. Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, that was it. Barene, uh, let's move on. Let's move on to football. Uh, Last weekend we really gearing up about the CAF Confederation Cup, CAF Champions League. Uh, Villa Kitara was denied to use Nambole Stadium. Villa eventually was allowed, but we just realized that they were not allowed until they secured their hosting venue just 2 days to the game. Uh, and it could the pricing of the ticket. I mean, Villa lost 2-1 to Commercial Bank of Ethiopia. Consolation goal from Elvis Ngondwe there. This what have you first? What have you made of this preparation? In contrast to Chitara, Villa's preparation that was marred by a controversy of whether they're going to host
I would say,
the matches. Go on.
yeah, I would say I know the England team is the EPDF England team is doing a good job at Nambole, but these are home teams. They're requesting for just one day to host a game at Nambole. They won't spoil anything. Yeah, they said, of course, they're trying to fix the running track. Yes, it's a good reason, but a quick one. Are they going to play football from the running track? The football is being played from the pitch itself. Yeah. If CAF approved Nambole to be one of the pitches to be used to host games for the national, let me say for any team when it comes to CAF games, why can they give these teams that opportunity? Of course, Chitala traveled as far as Libya to go and play their game. Thanks to Mitchell, who did an incredible job of securing for them that place. Of course, Villa, they're on the verge of getting a walkover, like because management had refused to give them the ground, like 2 days to the game until they had a meeting with the minister getting involved as well, and other stakeholders also getting involved as well, and hence UPDF, the Indian team department, allowing them to use the pitch. But of course, after the game, you saw nothing was spoiled, nothing was like everything stayed as it is. So a quick one, UPDF, it's a matter of telling guys, please, this is a no access area. Please don't go there, don't go here, because we're working on this one.
Perhaps
Yeah, but
somebody would say
let them.
maybe Villa's management was not forthcoming in terms of communication and preparation. They did not involve the UPDF brigade in terms of preparing. I remember even when the minister came to the stadium,
But
some of the Villa officials are not yet arrived for a meeting that was scheduled at either 11 a.m. Yeah, so for me, it spells bad leadership at Villa. If you look at even their preparation, uh, preparing for CAF Champions League, they should have started preparing by retaining their best players. Look at Chitara. Actually, for me, I think Chitara lost, but at least you would see they really played a very interesting kind of football, and they scored goals too. Started preparing early, started fundraising early, renewed contracts of their senior players, Omedis, Yakojos, brought in good players. What did Villa do the other end? Villa, the other end was releasing. Okay, I can't say releasing, but most of their players left. Their biggest assets were the players. They could not invest in them. They did not really do a proper fundraising as Villa. Villa would do a really proper fundraising. I think they even tried to really uh, uh, move the cost into the fundraising cost into the ticketing, and that is it ended up overpricing the funds out of the game, a game that they needed the home base, the home advantage. What do you make in contrast of Villa's preparation and also Chitara's preparation, and what really transpired in the day of the game, and what next forward for Villa as they head for their second leg in Ethiopia?
of course, both teams try to prepare themselves for these games. But credit goes to Chitara because they are definitely out of Uganda, still in Ethiopia. They are definitely out of Uganda in Ethiopia. They had a game with Tusker as well of Kenya. Of course, the FUFA, FUFA, that Super 8 also helped them a lot get prepared because they are playing against the teams which are somehow good. Also returning of their players, as like how we talked about returning of their players, or maybe getting a new contract. We saw I was a Koke December starting with Brana Harvey as a striker alongside Medi. So these two strikers, which was a big advantage to them as well. Though they had the man down in the process, but they played a good game. and the game ended 3-2 in favor of course, the opponents. But with what they displayed, with what they played, it shows that you know what, we can easily beat this team in the second leg
Yeah.
because now the players are used to the ground, the ground itself. Because at times even the pitches also differ. You be like, I'm not used to this kind of pitch. You know, they're now used to the ground itself. So they're like, you know what, if you have to make a pass, this time I'm supposed to pass the ball. If I'm to make a run, this time I'm going to run. Uh, all those things matter a lot. But generally, uh, Vieira didn't play as they were supposed to play because actually they also got a red card. Raga got a red card in that game. He had the worst foul I ever seen. That was one of the worst fouls I ever seen. It was a hard foul. I'm like, what is this? Raga had to break someone's leg. I'm like, wow, 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 what is this? Yeah. But I know they can go to Ethiopia and they can get a win as well from there, as long as composed, ready to play football. With Patrick Kakade delivering well. In this game, he didn't deliver because even the media
Missed
talked
him.
about it, like he never delivered as expected.
There was even
Sechigand
Sechiganda
also
too. Yeah.
had some issues in that. Yeah, that midfield. So it's a matter of them working upon themselves and they do something. Though I would say they're used to playing with some kind of players, and those players left. You know, also that affects them. Also their coach, who knew, like, yes, Molebe Kwaso is a good coach. He has been here. He has been with the club for some good time. He knows that kind of strengths and weaknesses. But you know, sometimes there's a coach you can have. You be like, I'm so comfortable with this coach. When he tells me something, I'll do it as a player because you trust in him, you believe in him. You know, you can do something. But even the way the coach left the club, 2 weeks to the qualifiers also, it somehow affected the club as well, and even the flow of the game. So generally, I know they can do some improvement and they can deliver. Let's hope for the best this coming weekend so that we qualify to the next round of the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup because both teams are representing us as Ugandans and we are supporting them.
Absolutely. So yeah, this Friday, Chitara will be playing Al Ahly Benghazi once again. Like the team that Mohamed Shaban, actually Mohamed Shaban squad in that game. Then Villa, I think on Saturday will be taking on the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia in Addis Ababa. Uh, this Let's talk about the UPL fixtures. Let's run through them. I don't know if you've had a look at them, but that was really interesting. Uh, just a moment. Let me pick this out.
I just feel small for KCC. I just feel small for one team, KCCA.
Guess- uh,
Eh? The first problems of the fixture are so crazy, man.
mm.
Eh? Mm.
That we should really be looking at that will give Villa a challenge in defending their trophy. And you remember you mentioned Vipers, you mentioned Chitara in there, and also Bull. Uh, is there a team that we are sleeping on? Express, like
Of course, uh, now that Alex Isabi is back at URA and the kind of players he signed, it's another threat.
mm,
Then I'm adding on, of course, KCCA. You can't with Mubiru doing an incredible job
mm,
when he came in KCCA, and the signings he made. Yes, we need still the team needs a striker, but with what he has put down there, the roster isn't
mm,
all that bad,
mm,
and they can do something, and we shall see goals coming through. Generally, there are like 5 teams or 6 teams which can compete for this championship. Like how it was last season, like how it can be this season as well. Yeah, of late in Uganda, we can't be like, at 5 games left, this one's the champion. It is hard now. It will be 1 game left or 2 games left to be. Yeah, yeah, it's up to the wire. That's how interesting our league is. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Wow, absolutely. Yeah, Ede, let's move on. Let's move on to basketball. Uh, the playoff semifinals, KIU really leveling the series 1-1. UCU Cannons is 2-2 downs against the defending champions City Oilers. UCU ladies, the ladies team that also won there's one they are all 1-1 against the JKL. Is this Jaguars? Yeah. So just run through the playoffs of basketball and the Sunday game that happened between KIU. Most of people did not expect KIU really to give now Blazers that hard run, especially in the third quarter in that game. I don't know what you really made of that game. Yeah.
I watched that game, uh, and I would say KIU, uh, the rotation was on point. Uh, Thanks to Coach Julio Tuama. Then I saw Casa there on the bench as well, trying to talk to him as they are doing the rotation. Because at times when I'm watching these coaches do the rotations and they're talking to players, I see which player they're talking to mainly. Like, how much time is he giving this player? I'd be like, okay, so this player is trying to talk to him on the rotation, trying to talk to him on the plays. I saw Casa, Ahmed Casa, the one they call Medi, trying to talk to Julio on the different rotations and also the substitutes he was making. Though I would say Namongo Blazers played a good game. Thank credit goes to Innocent Ochela and as well as Jimmy Williams. They had a good game. Though Chuma was kind of off on that day. Makedi also was kind of off on that day. Of course, Cheng also was off on that day. Wasn't the Cheng we saw in game 1 on that day. Credit goes to the defense of the KIU because KIU played good defense that day. They're picking up rebounds and also the offense was on point because their threes were dropping. The threes were dropping, so
Mm.
when compared to Namongo Blazers' threes. Innocent was doing a good job. Yes, of course, I think he had 25 points in that game. Uh, he was dropping the threes, taking those drives. Of course, fast breaks were happening, but I can't forget Joel Okoji with his kind of game he plays when he's guarding that ball, pointing that ball, adding on, of course, Amunaba, the young kid who does an incredible job as well in that paint and also on the 3-point line. Of course, the introduction of Stanley, because Stanley had more playing time in that compared to game 1. He delivered. He picked up rebounds in that game so well, both defensive and offensive. So generally, it was a day for KIU to take the game because their three was dropping, and of course their twos was also dropping so well as compared to Namo. But Namo players played a good game because at that time we went to a 5-point lead from all the way from around 11 or 12 to 5-point lead, and then we saw a three coming in from Munaba. I'm like, wow, he has now kind of silenced the Blazers fans, but generally it was an interesting game to watch. No one was bored. It was until the last minute of the game. That's when you're like, okay, we've accepted. Blazers have lost. They've lost the game, but it was a good one to watch. It was a good one to watch. I would say the series are so interesting, even if they beat a team, but they can't beat a team by a big margin. I would say that we saw in UCU both the games they lost to Oilers it was at a big margin. At one time, in on Sunday when I was watching game 2, at one time UC went as far as a 2-point whereby Oilers was up by 2 points, and what next? The vintage Ben Komakech dropped a 3-pointer, and I froze. I just stood up, started clapping hands for the guy because I'm like, Ben Komakech is Ben
Mm.
Komakech.
Absolutely.
You'll be like, Ben Komakech is Ben Komakech.
Mm.
Yeah. But for the
Absolutely.
ladies, of course, um, and here UK Rangers leveled the series with against UCU Lady Cannons. Of course, UCU Lady Cannons played a bad fourth quarter. on Sunday, and that's what everyone was saying. They had a bad fourth quarter on Sunday, which was their problem. They didn't deliver as expected, and of course, KU took advantage of that, and they won the game. I think by a basket. That's how KU Rangers won the game. Also for JT Jaguars up against Jekyll. Of course, the first game was so interesting. The JT Jaguars lost by I think by a few points, but as for this one, they lost by a big margin. I don't know what happened in the second half because they had a good first half. Then from there, second half was something so different. But when you look at the JKL team, uh, you be like, you know what? This team is full of senior players and full of experienced players, national team players. You know, they have the best players in the league on the team because you have Jenna Sinde, who's to me the best player in the league. Then of course you've got Hopper Kello, who's another crazy person, who's the best, well, one of the good players. Let me say another locally she's the best player. Then of course Jenna Sinde, who comes in from after the college. Then she just came and of course started balling. You've got point guards who are mature. You've got Flash who's does an incredible job as well. You've got Edrine Walujo, another mature point guard. So for Jekyll, they have a solid team which can deliver, which can do things on that court.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, let's still sticking to basketball. This week, there was football came out with a statement.
Actually, today,
Surprisingly,
today,
today.
no,
Oh.
yeah, we have game three today. We have UCU Lady Cannons up against KI Rangers, then Namongo Blazers up against of course KI Titans, and the games are 7 and 9. So today we are still watching game three, and tomorrow watching, of course, game three as well. So we are busy. This whole week we are busy. We're watching basketball from Tuesday until I think Friday. So we are so busy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That was interesting. Yeah. Still on basketball. I think yesterday, FUBA came up with a statement banning a one Edrine Walujo uh, over match fixing. And I remember, I think one of the first three episodes me and you were discussing here, you mentioned something that FUBA is still dealing with the issues of match fixing, and they are afraid to admit it openly. But this was something that you could not really deny. An international tournament, a 3-by-3 basketball, and there are issues of match fixing that came up that even went up to police. What are you picking from there regarding this player, the City Oilers player, Edrine Walujo, and what does this mean for basketball going forward in terms of curtailing this match fixing?
I would say match fixing isn't new in our basketball in Uganda. I remember one time Kelly, the manager of our savior, came out and said someone called him, giving him money so that his team can lose a game.
Mm,
He came out and said it. It was on social media. He came out and said it.
mm,
Leaving that aside, there's been not a match fixing, by the way, in our basketball. Either someone can be like, this quarter, lose this game by this points, or make this kind of free throws, or get these fouls in this quarter. That's all match fixing. And they're being given money. And it happens in our basketball. But you can't know as these guys are playing. Just get stories from different people, be like, wow, this is going far. But with Walujo coming out and trying to give Benin players money so that they can lose a game, they can lose that game. And he gave them, I think, 4K USD so they can lose that game. And he called them, he talked to them. The players saw it's a street deal. They talked to the manager. The manager had to rush very fast. He talked to the people in charge of Fionti, that's Hamza and also Ochamringa. And when Waljo came, of course, he was arrested, taken to police. He was there, I think, for 1 or 2 nights. Then, of course, he moved out on bond, and the investigations were still going on. Of course, I made a post saying what's wrong with the federation taking all that long to give us a statement on what's happening on this world of saga, the match fixing saga.
mm.
I wanted something like a press statement to be like, you know what, the investigation is still going on, but we know this has happened, but everything is in the police's hands now, right now. After me saying that, I said it on Saturday. On Monday, that's when I saw uh, a ruling from the federation. What next? 5 years ban for the player. The player can't get involved into basketball like as an administrator, as a coach, even as a fan. He can't step next to the court. That means the player won't be allowed to any within being run by FUBA and being run by FUBA. Of course, FIBA came out after reading the story from their monitor, uh, and they wrote an email to FUBA informing them, please make sure that thing is investigated and you get the ruling until to the dot, like follow up that thing till to the dot, because this can't happen. That's an international tournament, and this has happened on an international tournament. So FUBA made a decision, but I would say, of course, the 5 years are too much for a player. 5 years are too much for a player. It's a big punishment. Yes, they've acted, but to my shock, they said they're waiting for the police investigations. But police hasn't yet come out to say they're done with the investigations. These are the findings of the investigations. But as a federation, they came out and ruled, saying 5 years ban. Everyone was like, to me, I was like, yeah, this is too much for a young player like him. And he can't even be a fan to come and let me say the game he loves so much. Let me just go and score some basketball because I love this game so much. Yes, I know he has messed up, but even the likes of Resiva who are banned for 1 year, 3 years, of course they have time to go and watch their local teams play football. You know, it's the sport you love. It's the sport you love. I don't know whether the player can appeal on that ruling, but it was a harsh one. It was a terrible one. But let me hope the player finds time, he sits down, thinks about it, then be like, what's the way forward? Because this was like his kind of source of income. Now, if it's done like that, what's the way plan? An advantage is the good thing is done with books. You can of course look for a job, but basketball is a source of income. And of course, after 5 years, I would say it'll be 29 years. He'll be 29 years still, you know. Yeah, he's
Oh,
still a young kid. He'll be 29 years by that time. So all that time, yeah. So
oh, you
all that
can,
time. Let me hope
oh, you can maybe
he
appeal.
works out.
Is there an appeal process for?
That's
uh,
I didn't see it in the letter like you can appeal. I didn't see it in the FUBA letter that there's an appeal. I didn't see it.
uh,
Yeah, it was a
wow.
ruling from the federation. So I
Mm,
don't know what's on ground. But if he can meet 2, 3 lawyers and they talk about it and they be like, no, you can appeal.
mm.
He can appeal. He can appeal. And the question, and the people are still asking, where did he get that money? The
Yeah,
question is, where did he get that money? Is there someone who's trying to fund that project? That's another question we're asking ourselves.
yeah, absolutely. Just really speak a little bit about fixing. This, of course, he has a handler. Most of these people are not even in the country. You can find that FIBA game is being fixed in Singapore, Macau, somewhere there. You get. So it's a big ring, and if
Yeah,
FUBA, FUFA, anyone in Uganda thinks that he's going to just fight it by only banning the culprits, that you just removed one person, other person will take on that because there's money flowing in here. You need to really understand the ring dealers, the ring kingpins in this kind of thing. Yeah, it's a cartel, so they should really understand uh, uh, the whole concept of this match fixing, which is really, really, really eating the game right now. Yeah. Anyway, as we close, let's talk about the EPL. This week we had sorry, yeah,
It was an interesting weekend.
Mm.
Of course, my outstanding player is, of course, Haaland. In 100 games, I think he has scored 90 something goals. That guy is not a common person. That guy is not a normal person. Haaland is a
Mm.
problem. That
Mm.
is a big problem. Of course, he was my outstanding player in that game. Of course, I saw Kovacic also scoring against Chelsea's former club, and he didn't celebrate. Of course, he's like, you guys, I'm sorry.
Mm.
Manchester, of course, the new signing coming out and scoring a goal after struggling in the first half. Look at Kai Havertz giving Arsenal uh, a lead, and also Saka scoring an incredible goal, and everyone said he bent it like Messi. You know, the Saka goal, the woman called it bent it like Messi. I'm like, okay, this is
Mm.
interesting. Aston Villa, the signings they made good signings, and we saw the results over the weekend on Saturday, beating up West Ham. For Brighton against Everton, I'm not surprised. Everton struggled from last season. When the season was going to end, they even fought relegation, so I can't be surprised. To me, my real outstanding person, I would say, is Leicester City. Jamie Vardy, at his age, he
Mm.
scored an equalizer against Tottenham, and of course, he would have scored the winner against Tottenham yesterday. Tottenham just survived that winner from Jamie Vardy.
Mm.
Yeah, because Tottenham had all the chances and they didn't use their chances. But Jimmy Vardy got one chance like this on goal and he used it, and it was a goal inside that header. He had also scored, of course, a winner, whereby thanks to the people of Tottenham who saved that that ball, but it was going in. But a person of that age is still playing as a top striker and giving us such a run and such goals. Jimmy Vardy is the real
The
is a
real
real
deal,
top
yeah.
number 9 in the
And
Premier
also
League.
a loyal Leicester City player. He has been with them. This is second relegation, but relegation
Yeah.
is coming from quite remarkable out there. For me, there's a game that really piqued my I had interest in. That is the Chelsea Man City game. A lot of people are really trying to really take a dig at Chelsea in terms of the players they have signed. But I saw something with Maresca ball that really interested me. For the first time, I would see City being outpossessed, in a game. And it was so unique for me, having watched City in the last five seasons that I've watched City. Rarely do you see a team really outpossess them, but you would see Chelsea was outpossessing them. It's only that they're not clinical enough. Jackson coming in there and also missing a chance. But also, there's a player I also want to pick out, Jeremy Doku. Jeremy Doku has come of age. He has come of age in a way that he's trying to play now the Rio Guardiola kind of football. He doesn't lose the ball. If there is no way, you would see him returning the pass back for the team to retain possession. And that is so unique about Jeremy Doku. He was unstoppable in the night. He was everywhere, in and out the Chelsea defenders. They really struggled to really contain Jeremy Doku. And I don't know what this really sends a message to the 100 million pound winger of Grealish. Because right now, I think he would really have to really weigh his options. Because the way I've seen Jeremy Doku play is a stud. Everything that he did on that pitch is really world class for me. For me, I would pick really Jeremy Doku for that game, yeah, and my player of the weekend, yeah. So anyway, a lot of people also expected Arsenal to top the table, but Brighton really, yeah. So it's a really interesting season, and I really appreciate Hudson's take on that. I would also really pick Jamie Vardy, looking at the history and all that. But that's really a great and wonderful take from Hudson. Yeah. Anyway, I want to thank you. I think that's all we have for today regarding that. Anyway, let's before we close, let's talk about. Real Madrid's debut. Okay, sorry, Mbappe's debut away at Mallorca. A lot of people expected the Real Madrid really come in as Galacticos, but they managed to scrap a draw. I don't know if you saw that game, but a lot of people are saying these are not really the real Galacticos. Do we have to really should we panic over this Madrid team?
To to a guy like Carlo Ancelotti, I can't be threatened. I can't be like, I'm in any rush. No.
Mm.
Ancelotti, with the way he plays his football, give him time, he's going to deliver. Yeah, this is
Mm,
their first game as
mm,
Mbappe, Rodrigo, and Vinicius Junior plus Jude Bellingham. Also adding Valverde, it's their first game, their first, of course, Spanish game. And the team they're playing against, Real Mallorca is not some is a team. They've been struggling against that team when it comes to Mallorca, when it comes to being at their home. So that is just the first game. So we give them time. They will shock us and you'll be seeing 5-3, 5-3, 5-3, 5-3 in every game. Ancelotti is not in any rush.
mm. Absolutely. No worries for Madrid out there. I think they will still dominate their league. They will dominate the Champions League. It's just the first game of the season, but I know they're going to really pick up steam. Anyway, thank you so much, Addison, for this show. It has been really a wonderful show. We didn't have any glitches with the internet and all that. We really appreciate that we do this every Tuesday. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Just post 256, and the show is called Hot Take with me here, Hudson Mugweri. Perhaps you can say his last words as we close.
I would say to the people out there, the fans out there, please support your teams. Basketball is going on locally. Next month, of course, we're going to have the Uganda Premier League starting off. Rugby is on. Of course, the sevens are on. We have the Chadondo sevens, which are happening this weekend. We saw them, the Mbale sevens, of course, Pirates winning those sevens. And for the first time, the Powers lost lost their sevens for the first time in right now long. But I would say that's the sports in Uganda, and I'm happy that the fans out there are enjoying the sports. Every now and then, you see a new fan coming up to watch something. He's telling you, "Please, I need to go watch. I need to go watch some football. I need to go watch some basketball." Of course, the fans are going back on the pitches, and it's what we want to see in Uganda. The more fans, the more money the clubs are getting. So, thanks to the fans who are watching us every now and then and commenting and giving us feedback as well. So, thank you very much, and have a lovely week.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. See you next time. Bye.